The shir is for the refuah of Yosef ben Genya. Okay. Hilchas Bircot Hashachar, the halachas of the blessing of the dawn. We start today halacha Hey because halacha Daled was included in Hilchas Tefillin halacha Vav. So today we will deal with the Torah upon which this halacha is based on. Without Hashem, we will spend a long time on this halacha. You know, this is one of the seems
probably
to be
until Purim.
What?
Probably until like Purim.
It seems like the more epic. You know,
It's a challenge.
you know, one of the epic halachas of. So we learn this little like dome. It says like this: Al pi ma shekatav b'siman resh teisvav. What Rabbeinu wrote in Torah 215. Minyan 24 minei pidyonis, the 24 kind of pidyonis. Ayin sham, look over there. Ma shekosav shemoishe oisek tom legayer geim. Look over there. What Rabbeinu wrote there. Moshe Rabbeinu, his main occupation is to be Ger. Because Moshe Rabbeinu passed away on Shabbos, on Mincha, which is a time where the primordial will is exposed. That from the primordial will, this is where the overriding pidyon, the overriding ransom, is there. That includes in it all the 24 kinds of pidyonis. Moshe, if you know, the gematria of Moshe is between the gematria of Shmad and the gematria of Rotzen. In other words, the Shmad means like total annihilation, right? Rotzen means Rotzen Elyon, the supernal will. It's like you're talking about heaven and hell. This is Moshe is right in between. You know, he separates, he takes people from Shmad and brings them to Rotzen. He elevates Shmad to Rotzen, so let's take the Kitzur, and let's go over the Torah itself. There are 24 kinds of pidyonis to sweeten the verdict, the deed, the judgment, from all 24 courthouses, spiritual courthouses. Keneged kol beis din, in each specific court. There's a special kind of pidyon, you know, that sweetens the din over there. Yesh pidyon echad, and there's one pidyon, there's one sweetening. Shekol kol 24 b'tei dinim, that includes in it all the 24. V'lo nimtza ki im chad b'dara sheda ze pidyon. There's only one in a generation that would know this pidyon, how to do it. Sometimes, even when this tzaddik does the pidyon, still it doesn't help. Why? It's because not, you know, at all times such a pidyon comes up to Shemayim. If only one in a generation can know it, you know, this kind of pidyon is extremely precious, right? It's extremely valuable. It's not that every time that from underneath comes such a pidyon that can sweeten all the 24 mini pidyonis, in one shot. So when this kind of sweetening, of amelioration of the dinim comes, you use it for something else. What are you using it for? To make geir. Because as long as there is avodah zarah in the world, there's charonaf in the world, there's anger in the world.
There's one person who did the opinion, or one person who did the opinion once in the generation.
No.
Do it many
He
times.
knows how to do it. Because as long as there's avodah zarah in the world, there's anger in the world. And when you sweeten the din, you take away the anger in the world, what happens? Automatically diminishes the avodah zarah in the world, right? It works both ways. People live, it's not only in Achinami, it's a...
So it's in there.
All right, it's not used here like that. Enachinami is used as a part of an argument. It's not just saying it's the same thing over there.
It's almost like you call the homer type of, where you use it only in arguments.
No, yeah. It's so if we're going to take your word for it, that means that in such a case it'll also be so. So Enachinami, yeah, it is so. It's a part of a give and take. It's not a... We have to explain to whoever it is that's watching this, if anybody ever watches this, that we spoke about what is the meaning of the expression en achinami that is used in the Gemara. And so en means yes, achinami here also. And it's an expression which is part of the give and take of the halachic discussion of verifying what the truth is. So enachinami, yes, here also it's a very specific kind of retort that is usually used, when there's a dispute is between two Talmidei Chacham, between Hamarayim, whatever is taking place. Every single stance, halachic stance, has ramifications. If you say that this is allowed, that it means certain things. That if this is allowed, then this is also allowed, or whatever it is. Or sometimes you see there are certain halachas that if you are easy over here, it can come out more severe somewhere else because the ramification would be more whatever it is. So there's all kinds of, so in this of ramifications of what a certain psak, what does it mean, what are ramifications of that psak? So sometimes the one Amir will say something and the other one will say, they say something else. And that other one would say to the first one, it's like, how can you say that this is so-and-so? That would mean that in case, BOC, it will be also like that. And the answer, and the second one would either have to explain, no, it wouldn't mean that, because of something, their explanation, or he would say, yeah, you're right, enachinami. In that case, it will also be that way. So this is how it used. This is the world of halacha is fascinating, and the logic of the Gemara brain. How the Gemara thinks. There's a famous vote from that's not a vote really. That somebody came to the Bircot, and Because Bircot was saying something, and this person was saying that Tosfos in a certain tract in the Gemara doesn't say that. It says the opposite. So the Bircot said there's no such Tosfos. So everybody was very impressed. As he remembers, the whole Gemara, the whole Seches, he knows all the Tosfos is there. So the Bircot says, no, he doesn't remember the whole Maseches Bahar. He says, but as well as he knows the das of Tosfos, how Tosfos think, that's not the way Tosfos thinks. So there's no such Tosfos. Even if he doesn't know he doesn't remember the whole thing by heart. The seichel, this is a tremendous seichel in that. The Rebbe says that in no science there's a seichel like in the Gemara. He says that not only just in the Gemara. In the Gemara, it says that in no sciences there's ever a seichel like Maram Shif or Mar Shava. Just a kind of. He says that just the one thing comes to another, so that come to a certain kind of proof. He says, but there's no real seichel in it. So, as long as there's Avodah Zarah in the world, there's Charonaf in the world. So, if you take away the Charonaf, you take off the Avodah Zarah. Let's see it inside to see how long it is.
Not that long.
It's not that long. All right, so we can see it inside. So if he says anything different here, let's just okay. Okay, it says you should know that there is 24 kinds of pidyonis. 24 kinds of pidyonis. Pidyon means, basically it means ransom. Ransom is one kind of, it's the action of ransoming something, from captivity, from gzaldin, from verdict, from a judgment, from a sentence. So you can call it pardon, you can call it ransom, you can call it, which means to retrieve and to save something from a tight quarter, so to speak. So there are 24 such pidyonis. The tzaddikim, they make pidyonis, and when they make the pidyon, they untie the verdict. See, because without getting into the eating of pidyonis, but I want to explain the old way of medicine, you hear of it, the old way of medicine is that they give something, to solve a certain disease, to take care of symptoms of disease or whatever. But the new medicine that is is being developed today is called, a sub-process medicine. What does sub-process medicine mean? It means that every single disease that has a name, it could be heart disease, any disease is actually comprised, when you look at it closely, of anywhere between 8, 9, up to 12 different kind of sub-conditions. In heart disease, it can be that the blood pressure is high, that the walls of the arteries are thickened. Usually there are some are minor, some are major. But entire condition that has the name has 8, 9, 10, 11 sub-conditions. Now, each condition is responsible kaviyachol for a certain percentage of the entire machla. Nobody really knows how much is this and how much is that. But if you were to take the prime cause of the, and there's a relation between all of them, you take one of them out. Yeah. There are choshev one, you take it out, the entire machla will be cured. Everything will just fall apart. Taking out that particular thing will be the amtok of the machla. You take out this ingredient, the whole judgment falls apart. It's like when a guy goes to court, okay, and they look at what his judgment should be. Should be this, should be that, and they're looking at all the evidence, right? So imagine there's a piece of evidence. Like in America, it happens today a lot. You know, that the piece of evidence, they found drugs in his car. All right. But if the lawyer is able to take that piece of evidence out of the equation because it was obtained through illegal search, a search unjustified, it was without reason. The cop just decided to do it and he found it. So the minute he finds that the search was illegal, they remove that evidence from the whole trial.
You can't consider that.
Move the whole thing, you can't consider it, so the whole thing just fall apart. Okay, so what the lawyer is doing, the lawyer is mamtik, he's taking out, no, so there are 24 kind of pidyonis, because there are, lemaisa, 24 heavenly courts. You know, and every Beis Din, there is a very specific pidyon, you know, that can sweeten can ameliorate, can cancel the din that is there. So that's the reason why sometimes pidyon doesn't help. Why? Because not everybody knows all the 24 kind of pidyonis. You know, there's 24 hours a day, 24 combinations of Shem Havaya and Shem Adni. So it's and even if he would do, he's not doing all of them. Even if he knew all the 24, he's not doing all of them. So Mimele, if a person doesn't use the specific pidyon that has to deal with the court where the judgment truly is happening, so he's not doing anything. You know, he's basically looking for his wallet where the light is, not where he lost it, so to speak. You don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, when I was a kid, there was a joke. The guy sees a drunkard looking around a light post at night, a lamp post. He says, "What are you doing?" So he says, "I'm looking for my wallet." So he says, "Where did you lose it?" So he says, "Go over there. There's another lamp post." So why are you looking over here? He says, "There's no light over there." The light is over here. I couldn't see what's happening over there. You're making a pidyon, and, you know, and the court is not there. I gotta tell you this. Hello, I'm sorry. Okay. I was in America, they called me for jury duty. You know what it is. You gotta go, whatever it is. So I was there, and you go there for 2 days, they don't find you a trial, you go home and, you know, come every once in a few years, whatever it is they call you. So they called me. I was in the middle of a project. I could not afford to get embroiled in a trial. You know, a long, short one, mainly, but sometimes, you know, most of them you can go home, whatever it is, or sometimes can get, you know, sequestered and all kinds of shenanigans. So, I went there, And the first day I was set in the wrong court, you know, because you're supposed to be like in a, you know, in a big room with a whole, you know, with a bullpen full with prospective jurors, right? You know, the lawyers that pick out who they want, who they don't want. They have to argue with them. I don't want this one, I want this one, I'll give you this one, whatever. So the first day I was there in the wrong room, the second day, finally they sent me to the right room. And I'm sitting there with all the prospective jurors. And it was an assault case. And the guy, like a real bobby guy, sitting there, and he's there. The guy and his girlfriend is there that he assaulted, and they're full of police people, and they're full with people, and the judge, you know, they go 12-12, you know, they go, they ask questions. So the first question, of course, the judge asks the prospective juror is there any reason why you can't serve in this jury? Why you cannot, you know, judge this man in, you know, an open mind, you know, and so. The group that was, you know, before me, so the guy says, listen, I can't serve, I got to go to Texas, you know, for business, it's very important. Judge says, it's not interesting, you know, you're staying. He says, but I can't. I said, you're staying. So I realized that that's not the way out. No. So, when my term came there, the judge says, you know, there's anybody who cannot serve, you know, that. So I lifted my hand. So the judge says, yeah, what's your reason? I said, I can't tell you, you know, in an open court like that. So the judge says, okay, you know, come over to the bench. Did I tell the story already? Because you're falling asleep, that's why. So he already knows. He knows what's the. So I came up to the bench, and the judge. And I told the judge, I says, listen, I take a look at him. Take a look at him. I'm totally convinced that he's guilty. He's a lowlife. I said, as far as I'm concerned, he's guilty. He says, you have to convince me, you know, that he's innocent. And I said, I tell even more so. The way he looks is what? If he killed somebody, that somebody's not here, but he attacked his government, she's here, the police are here, everybody's lying. He's the only one who's telling the truth. Of course he's guilty. So I said, you know, and not only that, you know, somebody like him, even if he didn't do this, you know, if he's really innocent of this, he's guilty of something else. For sure. You know, one of those guys, you know, it's like, take a look at it. Okay, so he's innocent from this, say that, you know, punish him anyhow. Because
he must have done something.
He must have done something, you know, this guy, I guess.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the lawyers were there with me, so the judge says, you know, okay, I have to release you, you know, whatever it is. But the funniest thing is that I took a look at the judge's eyes and I saw that he agreed with me. Well, he couldn't say anything. It's like,
Right.
That's the reason why he accepted this argument, because he saw that I was telling him the truth. Which is really a filthy trick, you know, to lie by telling the truth. Using the truth, you know, to get out of it, because the truth is that I did tell the truth. I mean, no way this guy is innocent. Forget about it. No way. Yeah, okay, you know, maybe way. All right, 1 in a million. You're asking me if I can consider the guy as innocent until proven guilty? The answer is no. And being the people over there were so captive.
They must have been like, how did he do that? Like, what did he tell him? He got out of it.
The funniest thing is that if it was based on MS instead of you know, this kind of fictional, you know, legal, it's not justice, it's legal. If it was based on justice and not on legal, the judge would have told me, duh, everybody's like that. What do you think? The other people don't think like that? You sit down and you try the best you can. But they're so wrapped up in the hypocrisy of the completely open-minded. So they had to release it. 24. So if you're sitting in the wrong room for the jury duty,
You're looking for the wallet.
you look at the wrong trial. If you make a pidyon for for the wrong, you make the wrong pidyon, it doesn't help. He says, but you should know that there's one pidyon that includes in it, it's the master key. It opens up all the 24, but they didn't. And it can sweeten all the 24, but they didn't. Now, and for this pidyon to work, you need an esrotzai. You need in a very auspicious time. That answers your question that you asked before. Is it done once in a generation? So he says, for this pidyon, you need an auspicious time. That time is the b'chinas is galus mesach harotzen. That's like Shabbos by Mincha, when a very special kind of like your kids, they know that they're going to come and ask you for something, and you're going to say no.
You're going to be in a good mood though.
But so they're waiting when you're like especially good mood, and he says, Daddy, can I so and so? All right, go ahead. This is called esrotzai. This is called time that the goodwill is exposed. So because the will is the illumination of the Kesser. The Kesser, that will is a will that can pardon anyone, no matter what. When we say, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu the 13 midah shel rachamim, which are, by the way, in the Kesser, remember we called it 13 tikkunei dikna, rectification of the beard, right? That's what we call it. This is what is zakan, in the English it was zikna, or zaken. The zaken, the saba is the Kesser. That alludes, so we said, all the 10 spheres are when they come to the initial spheres, they broke. When they are rebuilt again in Olam HaTikun, the 10 spheres they are divided into a group of 5, into 5 sections, which are like the 5 sections of the family. You have the grandfather, which is the Kesser. You have the Chochmah Bina, which is father and mother. And then you have the Zah, which is the son. You have the Malchus, which is the daughter. You have grandfather, father, mother, son, and daughter. That is the complete supernal family.
Call those parts of being?
What?
Is that what's called parts of being?
Yes. That's called the persona. It's called the Partzuf. So the supernal persona of grandfather, what is the white beard, that's the grandfather. That's this is what the Rachamim are. So when we're saying that 13 midas of Rachamim, they are in the Kesser, they are in the Saba, because an old man is already patient. This is the light of Rachamim. So this is called esrotzin. That's why when HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Moshe Rabbeinu, "V'chanot et asher achon," and I will pardon whoever I will pardon, v'richamt asher rachem, and I will have rachmanas, whoever it is that I'll have rachmanas. This is what Rashi says. What it means is, I will pardon anyone I want, which means even if he's not right, even if it's all the judgment against them, whatever all the evidence is against them, because by the supernal Ratzon, it's not totally in anything; it's totally free. The initial Ratzon, the supernal Ratzon, not only b'shamayim but also by a person, is completely free. When a person, the Bircot says that people who are sophisticated and smart, the Emunah is all kind of backing with the Emunah. When they fall in tough times, they can crack. they can crack. You can see, tough times Am Yisrael went through. The smart ones, the clever ones, they fell. Who withstood the tests? Who are those that were able to remain Yidden and were Moser Nefesh, were Moser Nefesh and sacrifice themselves? Dafka the simple people. No seichel, just emunah. They did not rely on the seichel, they relied on emunah. Emunah is the mirror of the kesel. Emunah says, I believe. Kesel says, I want. Which means that beyond the seichel, there is the ratzon. In other words, if things are dependent on your chokhmah, you're doing things because you understand something. If I prove you wrong, I pulled the rod from under your feet, right? However, if you do something because you want to do it, there's nothing I can do. You want to. Finish. The ratzon, when a person goes to this to the initial ratzon by him, he can be more to himself. I mean, if you stop to think about it, what do you mean? You say that you believe in this Avodah Zarah and live. What are you? But when you're going to the level of the ratzon, the choice is always there. That's the reason why it's possible to get out of drugs. It's possible to get rid, out of anything. You need the ratzon. Once you have the true ratzon, okay, then not certain tools, whatever it is, don't get yourself into a situation where, because there'll be times when your ratzon is not so resolute and so you can fall, whatever it is, but that's secondary. First, there has to be a ratzon, has to be a will, has to be a resolution that that's the way I want it, because I want it. Kach k'viyochel by Kodesh Baruch Hu, there's a ratzon elyon, there's a supernal will because I want it that way. Because the Kodesh Baruch Hu wants it that way. And the Kodesh Baruch Hu uses it to reprieve people from a gzar din, even though they don't deserve it. Kodesh Baruch Hu says, yeah, but I want to reprieve them. What? Because I want to. Boom. That's called a ratzon elyon. There is one time where the source of this ratzon, like the most independent, free, totally quote unquote arbitrary, that is not subject to the pros and cons of this world, of the system of the Kodesh Baruch Hu created the world. This is called Rava de Ravin, the will of wills. That's like the Ratzon beyond the Ratzon of Kodesh Baruch Hu. That Ratzon is exposed once a week at the time of Shabbos Manuch. That's when the portal to the Ratzon HaElyon, this is when it opens. So it says like this. You should know that there's one pidyon that works for all 24 of them. But this particular pidyon needs to have an Es Ratzon, Dafka time. It's an auspicious time. Pchinas is Galus Metzach HaRatzon. That is the revelation of the forehead of the Ratzon. What is the forehead? What is the forehead doing here? Because in the face itself, you have the spheres. You have the partzufim. Yeah. You have the mouth, which is the malchus. You have the eyes, which is chochmah and bina. And beyond the eyes is closed, right? The eyes is already open. This is already kaviyachol the level where you start communicating with the world. But what's happening beyond the eyes? That's already the hidden brain, right? That's this is the metzach. So the metzach is the thing that signifies the kesel. It signifies that kind of really primordial motivation, which is the ratzon. for good or for bad. That's what, when we say when someone is a chotzav, you really should be respectful, but you're behaving fresh. That means azus metzach, right? It calls, a ferocious forehead. You have azus pon, azus metzach. So this is metzach isha zoyna ha'yisalach. You had a forehead of a harlot, of a prostitute. Now, you refuse to be shamed. So this is a pasuk in the Navi. It's like azus metzach. The metzach is the thing that denotes. So this says metzach harotzon. These galus of metzach harotzon. That's like the highest level of rotzon that happens Shabbos. Kmo Shabbos b'mincha. As it says, v'anifilti lecha es rotzon. But even the tzaddikim, not each and every one of them knows this particular pidyon. And there's only just one person generation that will do, that knows about this pidyon. And sometimes even when this tzaddik does a pidyon, still it doesn't help. Why? He says, because the Shamayim, this pidyon is so rare. They're waiting for it to come. Because it's very rarely there's such a rosin come up to them. Something that can totally mamtik the tigger from all the 24, courts, heavenly courts. It's very rare. So they use it for something else. In other words, with this pidyon, this pidyon makes gerin. They use this pidyon in order to make gerin. Because ultimately that's the whole reason why Am Yisrael went in exile, to make gerin. Yeah. Now, because as long as there is avodah zarah in the world, there's idol worshipping in the world, there's anger in the world. So the minute that you sweeten, you remove the anger, it removes avodah zarah. He says, that was the main mission of Moshe Rabbeinu. His entire life, and also after his death. His entire life, what his job is to bring the Erev Rav, to bring those that are far away. To make gerin. And also when he died, he was also buried before Beis Peor, that's the house of Avodah Zarah, in order to sweeten the Avodah Zarah. So there'll be gerin. And that's the reason why Moshe Rabbeinu passed away in Shabbos B'mincha. Because that's the time, it's Es Rotzon. In order to sweeten the 24 verdicts of the 24 courts. In order to make gerin. Because the entire avodah of Moshe Rabbeinu was to sweeten the avodah zarah in the world of the Akum, and to convert it into rotzim, take it away from avodah zarah, from idol worshipping, and turn it to rotzim elyon. But again, Moshe, there's a reason why Moshe, the word Moshe in Gematria, Oimed ben Shmad lerotzim, is standing between Shmad and rotzim. Moshe is 345. Shmad is 344. Rotzon is 346. He's exactly in the middle. Because Mispah Moshe is Memutza ben Mispah Shmad and Mispah Rotzon. Because he's standing always to sweeten the Shmad and turning into Rotzon. That's why we saw the Rebbe Eliezer HaGadol, he was Megayger. Why? Because he was a Gilgul of the son of Moshe. It is said about the son of Moshe, Ki Shema Echad Eliezer, right? Shem Ha'echad Eliezer. As Midrash Rabbah says. But with this Koich was Megai Gerin. And the same thing with Yisro. He was the father-in-law of Moshe. That's the reason why he became a Ger. It's this Vayishma Yisro Chois and Moshe. Yisro, the father-in-law of Moshe. And since he was Moshe's father-in-law, that caused him to hear about Yiddishkeit and to convert to Yiddishkeit. Because the entire avodah of Moshe Rabbeinu while he was alive, and now after he's dead, is only to make gerin. Because gerin to come. We will stop here to let you digest this particular thing, because it is very important that we, let the principle that Rabbeinu espouses over here, explains over here, because we will live with it with such a long time, so we better understand, remember what it is we're talking about. You can